the fact that how do you become observant without being judgmental, without jumping to conclusions, without judging people on so many levels, and it would be, and I think the other thing too is just getting to know each other in an everyday way instead of some sort of planned event. Learning to get comfortable with each other and not being afraid of each other for reasons that we can't even really verbalize. And I know I read somewhere that you tend to read things and talk to people who you agree with. And really the only way to really know what you think is to talk to people and read things that you don't agree with, so that you can hopefully open your mind up to something that's different. You may not change your mind, but you have a more informed opinion about it. So I think it just made me, into the value of just learning to be better informed before you make judgments, and I don't know, I think just try to be better informed about what you're thinking and how you act on how you think. So
we like to focus, as Americans do, on ain't it awful, isn't it awful, and we like to focus on that and what's wrong and what the problems are, and here's how we're going to solve them, and only so and so will do this or so and so will do that. We like to focus on that somehow instead of slow down. Here's what we have in common. And it kind of made me sit back and think, oh, yes, we are more alike than we're different.
Well, I think it reinforces values you have. I think it, in some cases, could help influence other people, maybe haven't thought about it, or start to realize that is an important value. And some disagreement, maybe that some values that I hold are not, not as strong. Maybe someone can influence me.
Well, I think it's interesting to first of all learn what those values are, and to see if we agree, or if I would agree with what those values are, and I do. But it's what's been fascinating for me to see is kind of the two sides, or the two parts of the spectrum that those values kind of run the gamut of, which is the exercise we did last week. And so it just shows that even though we hold those values, we do look at them in different ways, and we do share them, but with different perspectives. So that's been interesting, and I think that can only just help us to continue dialogue and continue to try and find the common ground within the common ground.
The only time you talk about values is when you see something negative going on and you wish people wouldn't do what they did.
I think the benefits of discussing values are it brings everything out into the light. You're clear where you're going, you're transparent. Sometimes in life, a lot of people keep things close. But when you really ask the question to everybody, they have the same type of values. Sometimes you don't want to know what other people's values are. You think everybody has the same basic value and DNA, but I think it's important to discuss. And not only, it's easy sometimes here at church, but in other settings, where, like I say, with friends and families and just acquaintances and people we touch, I think there's a lot of diversity, but sometimes there's a lot of things that hold us together too, and that I thought was brought to light by talking about values last week. I was surprised because in the discussion we have people from their maybe late 20s to probably their late 70s in the group, and basically the core was pretty close. So I found that interesting, even as I talked to my father, who's a World War II vet. He didn't come last week, but he seemed to have the same values, even stronger, but more pointed on some of the things we talked about.
Maybe my mind will be opened up a little bit more, but I think I feel as though my morals are correct, and but I was raised Baptist, and it was kind of a strict environment that I was raised in. Maybe I'm a little more accepting of some things these days, but I feel as though I'll probably learn some things, I'm sure, in this class that will, help me to be more accepting. I hope so.